Welcome back, brothers and sisters of Christ. My name is Brianna and I'm back with another video. And for today's video is Jesus wept. Okay, I am going to read John chapter 11 verse 32 through 37, if I can find it. Chapter, because it is getting late. Okay, and it says, when Mary reached the place where Jesus was and saw him, she fell at his feet and said, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would have not died. Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who had came along with her also weeping. He was deeply moved in spirit and troubled. Where have you laid him? He asked. Come and see, Lord, they replied. Jesus wept. Then the Jews said, see how he loved him? But some of them said, could not he who opened the eyes of the blind man have kept this man from dying? So Jesus wept is the shortest verse in the Bible, but also very significant. You know, verse 35 says, Jesus wept. That statement alone lets us know how much God cares about us and loves us. He doesn't like seeing us cry, hurt, upset, or suffering. You know what I'm saying? It said he was deeply moved in spirit and troubled. And, you know, some people like to think that Jesus is heartless and emotionless and doesn't have feelings, and emotions, but he does. Some people think that Jesus doesn't care about us when he does. And this passage shows deep compassion, empathy, and humanity. And I love this passage because it also gives us a glimpse of Jesus' love for us. You know what I'm saying? And I actually have a personal experience that somewhat is relatable, that shows when you cry, the Lord does not take it lightly. So months ago, there was a situation where I was crying about something. And I'm talking about, I was being a bit dramatic, to be honest. But, I'm doing an ugly cry. I'm on the floor crying. It was just something regarding my future, basically a fear regarding my future that I cried out to the Lord about. And I needed him to give me clarity and understanding and peace and confirmation. And long story short, I was crying. I'm weeping, y'all. I was being dramatic. I went to bed and I had a dream. And I'm not going to get into much detail about the dream, but the Lord came to me in a dream and spoke to me about the very thing that I had been crying about. And it was the very night that I had been crying about it. Okay? That experience I hold near and dear to my heart. Because even when we're crying about something even when we're being dramatic, you know what I'm saying? It's the fact that the Lord cares. He cares about what we care about. He cares when we cry. And that let me know, because when I calmed down from it, I was just like, was it really even that deep? I was crying like somebody died. But it was that deep to the Lord. It was that deep to the point that he came to visit me in a dream and gave me clarity and confirmation and peace and comfort. Oh my goodness. So that let me know how much the Lord cares about us, how quickly he is going to move when we are troubled, when we're sad. Oh my goodness, I love the Lord because he didn't have to do that. In this passage, it said that he was deeply moved in spirit and troubled. And it was because he seen them upset, he seen them crying. And he even wept when he seen them crying. Oh. I love the Lord. I hold that dream near and dear to my heart. Because I know that the Lord loves us, but the way he showed up expeditiously really did something to my spirit. But there's also another example that we have of Jesus weeping. And that example is in Luke chapter 19, verses 41 through 44. And it says, as he approached Jerusalem and saw the city, he wept over it and said, if you, even you, in only, as he approached Jerusalem and saw the city, he wept over it and said, if you, even you, had only known on this day what would bring you peace, but now it is hidden from your eyes. The days will come upon you when your enemies will build an embankment against you and encircle you, and hem you in on every side. They will dash you to the ground. Dash you to the ground. Oh, you and your children within your walls. You and the children within your walls. I'm sorry, y'all. They will not leave one stone on another because you did not recognize the time of God's coming to you. As he approached Jerusalem and saw the city, he wept over it. He wept over it because they were living in sin. They wasn't living right. And they didn't even recognize that God was there to save them. They were spiritually blind. And I love this passage. This is, another one where Jesus wept. But this time he was weeping because he doesn't like when we are not living according to his word. He doesn't like when we're living in sin because it separates from us. Separates us from him. You know what I'm saying? The Lord wants good for us. And I just absolutely loved it because, like I said, people think that the Lord is just evil. They think that he don't care about, he does care. He weeps when we're sad. He weeps when we're sinning, when we're living wicked. He weeps for us, apparently, according to the word. At least he did in the Bible. He cares for us that deeply. And it just moves me. Like, it really just moves me to hear about Jesus weeping. Because how much he cares about us. Because not only does he care about us when we're hurt and sad, but he also cares about us when we are not living right. And, when we're spiritually blind, when we're bringing all this wickedness upon ourselves. He knew destruction was to come, which later did. He wept because they rejected him, and they rejected the prophets that he sent. All the signs, like, they overall rejected the Lord, not knowing that was what was going to save them. I just love the Lord so bad. Because he is so good and he is so faithful and he's so caring and compassionate. Like, I don't understand how people don't see it, but if this word is not for you, it's for somebody else. Remember, I'm telling y'all this because I love y'all. God bless.